guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to be covering part 3 to the story I covered earlier, which is titled, Newlywed thought she got away with the world's biggest crap test, and then her husband showed her. And guys, I'm not going to bother doing a recap because you guys watched this 2 hours ago, and I'm sure you're dying to hear part 3. But where things left off, our guy here is making a comeback in his situation with his marriage, and was laying down the law how things were going to go going forward. Otherwise, that's it, they're done. And it ended with the cliffhanger, him saying, by the way, the last thing for me to stick around is you're going to cut those 2 friends out of your life that was so-called advising you to pull a giant crap test on me. And now we're going to see how she reacts and responds to this whole thing, and then leading down the path to where this thing wraps up. And let me tell you, it's a good one. So he continues, says here, the tears suddenly stopped, and she told me I didn't get to tell her who she could or couldn't be friends with. Well, Pumpkin, I think I just did. I told her fine. Then she didn't get to decide if I was going to remain married to her or not. I told her this was non-negotiable. She said she wasn't cutting off her friends. They're not your friends. That I was being insecure and controlling. Maybe it was controlling and insecure. I don't recall which. I have been watching you 2 or 3 videos a day since I was introduced to your channel, and this seems to be the common trait that apparently most of us men in the world have. We are controlling and insecure. Isn't that amazing? It's just we all are that way, I guess. You know, whenever we stand up for ourselves and we're being mistreated and, grow a pair, all of a sudden we're insecure and controlling, or controlling and insecure. No, that's a last-ditch effort to try to shame a guy from having any balls. I told her she was cutting them off or she could walk out the door right now. More tears. She and Jessica have been friends since middle school. I told her she blocks them or I block her, and out the door she goes. Crying, she took out her phone. I don't know how she has any more fucking tears in her. I don't know how she isn't dehydrated at this point. All the goddamn tears going on here with her. She asked if she could call them. I told her to send the following message. The message is, you are toxic to my marriage. I'm cutting you off to save it. She said she wanted to talk to them to explain. I told her there's nothing else to explain. That message says it all. So she reluctantly sent the message and blocked their numbers. I told her to block them on social media as well. You do realize, bro, the second you guys split up or she goes to bed, she's going to get right back on her phone and reach out to them. There's no way she's going to keep this up, but okay. Afterwards, she curled up on the couch and was crying. She might as well just say she's been crying the whole freaking time. She wouldn't look at me. I said her name. She looked at me, clearly looking miserable. I told her this was a start. On Monday morning, she would drop her classes and go look for a job. She gave me a little nod, sniffling and wiping her tears, but didn't say anything. She finally said she was tired and wanted to go to bed. I told her she could go as soon as she gave me all the receipts for what she had spent, the money she had spent, and put her boots up for sale in the marketplace. Then she could go to bed. She complied and showed me the post of her boots for sale. I told her thank you, and without saying anything, went to bed. I put her through the ringer, and she wasn't used to that kind of treatment. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Yes, now, this guy obviously didn't want to have his marriage go this way. And if she actually acted like a freaking adult and didn't undermine him every step of the way and all the shit tests, he wouldn't have to act this way. Now, frankly, as I said in the other video, I wouldn't even be wasting your time with her. It would be ending it because this ain't going to work. But if he didn't, at least he now knows he's made attempts. And we got a good story to hear. But do you guys really think, and I have to say this now, this is going to work? But it was now getting late, and I wanted to go to bed too, but I decided I needed to go through our finances to see where we were at, and I wanted to read your comments from your viewers. Then you would have been up all night reading comments. In the comments, there were a lot of agreements that this marriage is over. At this point, I was doubtful Amy would ever be able to follow through. Up till now, Amy had still not apologized for what she did. No fucking shit. Not one apology, because she was protecting her marriage, protecting herself. It's all her friend's fault. One post that rang home was a comment about being baby-trapped. I began to get worried. There were those 2 days of sex, but that was the last time. The more I asserted myself, the less Amy seemed interested in intimacy. Damn, that's a loud vehicle going by. I think she was using it as a tool. We didn't use protection since we were married. Smack! Hey, Mr. Moneyman. She gets pregnant, there goes your savings. There goes any extra money you can have to build wealth. I mean, I'm sure you probably want to have children one day with the right woman, but not now. You should be wearing protection, my friend. You clearly didn't see that video I covered. I don't know if it was exhaustion or what, but I started laughing at my own thoughts. There'd be absolutely no intimacy until next month. I had not budgeted condoms at this month's budget. I'm not sure if you found that funny, but I chuckled at this as I wrote it. Well, if there's one thing you can put on the Visa card or Capital One card is some fucking condoms. So Amy sold her boots that weekend for $180. Oh, so she lost $70 on this. She was upset she lost money on them. I told her if she hadn't been a spoiled child and tried to get her way, she could have returned them for the full price. When I got home Monday, Amy confirmed that she had dropped her classes and got the refund. When the money hit our account, I would use the money to pay off the newest student loan. I specifically selected that loan because my name was a co-signer. Very smart, dude. The rest of her student debt is in her name. Monday afternoon, I made an appointment for later in the week to see an attorney to see what my options are. Good. Yes. You need to find out, my friend. This was not shared with Amy. Monday night, Amy was starting to warm up to me. When I went to bed, I saw there was some garbage in the bathroom wastebasket from some feminine hygiene products. I breathed a sigh of relief. Amy had started. Yes, never were you so happy to see her monthly friend return. On Tuesday, Amy found a job at a local hardware store, 32 hours a week and about $3 an hour more than the coffee shop. She told me I had to start helping with dinner and laundry. I told her I'd start that night. I decided to have some fun, though. I crammed 6 pairs of my pants into the washer and then added some of her intimates on top. I called for her and said I had a question. When she walked in the kitchen, where the washer and dryer is, I asked if it was 1 or 2 scoops of soap. I know for a load of laundry, it's like a quarter of the include soap scoop. I had the scoop heaped up, hovering over the washer. She freaked out and told me to get away from the laundry. I mentioned I was homeschooled. My time in the workforce, I have learned that most people my age and a bit older do not have critical thinking skills. That was one thing we were taught, was how to think and analyze. Amy is lacking in this area as well. Did I manipulate her? Yes. Petty, but I believe well-deserved. Mr. Nice Guy is gone. In other words, well, you better come over here and do the laundry, or I'm going to fuck the whole thing up. I think Bill Cosby had a stand-up comedy, and this is 50 years ago, where he had the line, "Oh, it takes a genius to act so dumb," where men don't want to do something, so they fuck it up, and the wife gets pissed off, and then she does it. On Wednesday, Amy asked me to stop by the grocery store on the way home to pick up some things to pack for lunch for the next couple of days. As I was grabbing some items and putting them in my basket, it was like deja vu all over again. I heard a familiar voice say, "Well, hello, stranger." I turned around and Susan was standing there. You gotta be fucking kidding me. The same crazy bitch that followed you to that on your work trip was hitting on you, now she's... Don't think, like I told you, that Amy really blocked these girls. She said she wanted to talk to me. I was trying to figure out why she was at the store talking to me. I told her there is no reason for us to talk and to leave me alone. She told me to hear her out. This woman harassed me on my business trip. I wasn't in the mood. Oh, security. I used to work with this guy named Dave. Dave was a fun guy to work with and would embarrass you at the drop of a hat. For example, you'd be talking with him, and if someone else would walk within earshot, he would loudly say, "No, I won't go out with you. For the last time, quit asking me." Or he'd tell you to quit undressing him with your eyes. That kind of stuff. You get some uncomfortable looks, especially from women. At lunch one day, he told me about this one night he had a few of his friends over at the bar. He was hitting on a really good-looking woman, and she was clearly interested. One of his friends he was there with walked up to him and acted surprised to see him and said, "Oh, hey, Dave, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in months." "Look, I know you're still dead broke and looking for work. That $20 you owe me, don't worry about it, man. I know you're really struggling to get by. Give me some call sometime and we can catch up." He then slapped him on the shoulder and walked away. Needless to say, the woman quickly lost interest in him. Shocker. Of course, his buddy did do that to him. Because a couple weeks later, Dave had done it to his buddy. So I did my best to channel the spirit of Dave. I changed my tone, and in a calm voice I said, "What can I help you with?" Susan told me I need to quit being so controlling and telling Amy who she could be friends with. I replied in a bit of an elevated voice with a hint of surprise. What? Are you serious? Susan said she was. Then, loud enough for several people standing around us to hear, I said, No, I'm not going to pay you $200 to have sex with me. Get away from me, tramp. Makes me think of this scene, Billy Madison, Adam Sandler. He was like in high school. He's redoing all the classes. And he was talking to some girl in class. And she's like, I'm not talking to you, you loser. And he's like, no, I won't make out with you. And everybody turned around and looked at him. This guy was pulling a Billy Madison. People quickly turned and looked at us. And Susan turned bright red, not knowing what to do. Quickly darted off. An older woman was staring at me and said to her while shaking my head, I thought this was a reputable neighborhood. That's funny. Anyway, back home while eating dinner, Amy slipped up. She told me what I did to Susan was mean. I was about to say something when I decided I need to stop and see where this goes. Wait a second. I thought Amy had cut them off. I'd paused mid-bite and then resumed chewing. I didn't respond, and Amy must have realized her mistake. She didn't make any further comment. How would she know what the interaction was between Susan and I if she and her and Jessica were blocked? Best case, she was in indirect contact with them. Worst, she was talking directly, which was my guess. I said right then and there, my marriage is over. She just showed her loyalty. Bro, come on. You didn't really expect her to actually keep her word by blocking her friends. There's no fucking way. Over my short adult life, I have never been a complete pushover, but I do tend to sometimes, probably way too often, take the path of least resistance. When it comes to women, I didn't make waves at all because I didn't know how to act around them. Stepping into this management role has been good for me. I have to make decisions and hold people that I used to work with accountable. It's a bit uncomfortable, but I have forced myself to step up to the plate. The encouragement Jacob has given me, as well as your advice of getting rid of Mr. Nice Guy, has been a confidence boost. I offer up my gratitude. I met with a divorce attorney on Thursday afternoon. Here is what I found out. Now listen to this. This is good about some legal shit, guys, about marriage and all that, and divorce. According to my lawyer, when you annul a marriage, it is declared legally void, and that means there was never a legal marriage to begin with. She gave me a list of reasons that a marriage can be annulled. You got a female attorney. Number 1, duress. One or both were forced or coerced into getting married. Number 2, incest. 2, closely related. 3, polygamy. One or both were actually married. 4, inability to consummate the marriage. Unwilling or unable to engage in intercourse, and the other did not know this. Well, you haven't had a problem with that, dude. Next one, underage marriage. Under the legal age to marry and no parental consent. And last one, there's another one, concealment. Important facts are concealed, drug addiction, mental health, etc. And last one, fraud. One spouse relied on fraudulent info when deciding to get married. Example, women told the man she wanted kids, so they got married, but it turned out the woman had her tubes tied before they met. Okay. If both Amy and I both push for the annulment, the judge may grant it. But since none of the above cover bad behavior, spending habits, disrespect, I'm likely looking at divorce. Luckily, we have nothing and have been married such a short time, we should be able to just part ways and be done. Just the attorney fees? Good thing I have an emergency fund. Wait, I don't. Well, get her to sell some more of her shoes or something. Okay, so it looks like divorce, but you haven't been married very long and you have nothing. Okay, you're going to take some bit of a hit, but that's a small price to pay for your freedom and getting the most valuable lesson known to man. I intended to talk to another attorney. Annulment would be cheaper than divorce, so I made an appointment for next week for a second opinion. That's a good idea. On Friday morning, I woke just before 1 a.m. I was laying there listening to Amy lightly snore. I decided it was time to look at her phone. I got her phone and went to unlock it, but she changed it from password protected to thumbprint. Immediately, I thought about your videos and what is she hiding. She was laying on her side with her arm under her pillow. Oh yeah, you're going all Mission Impossible here now. Gonna turn on her phone and use her thumb on the phone while she's sleeping. I patiently waited until 1:52 when she rolled over, leaving her right hand out in the open. She's usually a pretty heavy sleeper. I can get up, use the bathroom, crawl back into bed, and she won't even notice. It took me 4 attempts to unlock her phone, and on the second attempt, she stirred a little bit, and I thought she might wake up, but she did not. All I was looking for was proof that she was talking to Jessica or Susan. I left the bedroom and went into the bathroom by the living room. The apartment is 2-bedroom, 2 baths. I shut and locked the door, and I started looking. It took about 25 minutes of opening text messages, folders, notes, email, when I stumbled across what appeared to be a bad attempt to hide things. In a folder, inside a folder, inside a folder, I found WhatsApp. I never used it. I don't use any social media, and I only looked at her social media a couple times to see what she posts. WhatsApp, huh? Uh-oh. Here we go. Private messaging. So I began reading the WhatsApp conversations. There are a lot there, some going back to a while before we were married. The ones I focused on were recent. Amy hadn't been calling Susan when she was hounding me at the hotel. She was sending messages. There were messages between her and Susan about each encounter we had. Susan referred to me as cute, frightened puppy. Amy laughed at my reactions to Susan's advances. There was one time, though, that she was not laughing. Freaking snake. Amy asked her what she should do if I started giving in to her attention. She said she'd let me go as far as I wanted. Amy said, "You mean kissing?" Susan said, "Yes, kissing and whatever else." Amy said, "You won't sleep with him, though." Susan's response was, "You need to know how far he's willing to go." Amy told Susan she didn't want her sleeping with me or kissing me. Susan said, "Whatever happens, happens. I guess guess I call it the grocery store." Yeah, there you go. No honor amongst thieves. Good Lord. You feel bad about divorcing her now? Obviously not. Susan was willing to have sex with me for money, only in this case. I paid the money, and the one who was screwed was me. The last 2 days, Amy was constantly asking Susan if she had seen me. Susan did reassure her nothing happened. They laughed at how I fled the restaurant without eating my steak. Never ditch your steak for anybody. Just grab that thing off your plate like you're a caveman, eat it on the way out or something. With the A1 sauce running down your arm. I know, no. If it's a really good steak, you don't need A1 sauce, but I think he was at Applebee's or something, so he's going to need fucking A1 sauce. There was another conversation with Amy and one of her friends where she was confiding in her that she was worried Susan was going to take me away from her. She gave her details every time Susan contacted her and was constantly messaging this other friend in panic. When she was hearing nothing, it was driving her nuts, not knowing what Susan and I could have been doing. This is why you always pay attention to who your girl hangs out with. I found the conversation from the other day. She mentioned in the conversation with Susan that I was getting some groceries. Susan asked where we shopped, and Amy told her. Amy didn't ask her to talk to me. I believe Susan decided to do that on her own. I embarrassed Susan, and she went mad. This was a group of texts with Amy, Susan, Jessica, and 2 others. Oh, more girls in this group. Her fucking coven here. Amy had been telling them that I was being controlling. The consensus of the group was Amy needed to withhold SCX to get back in line. That's been a power play since the beginning of time. Then I'd be thinking twice about telling Amy who she can be friends with. There was also talk about how unreasonable I was being about money. And the boots. What an a-hole I was over those boots. I tell you what happens when you come between a woman and her freaking shoes, or purses, or handbags. The nail in the coffin came in the form of messages between Jessica and her couple of friends on the Friday that I abandoned my steak. He says, "I hope you're still smacking me every time I mention about abandoning the steak, and I'm still pissed about it." I smacked you enough for abandoning the steak. Amy got a message from Jessica. She asked when she was going to be leaving. Amy said she was still waiting for me to call. Jessica told her to hurry up and take my call on the way out. Amy said she needed to be home where it was quiet when I phoned. Jessica told me to call me. But Amy said I was likely in a bad mood because of Susan and needed just to let me phone when I did. Jessica had told her to let her know. The next message was after 10 p.m. and it said, "I'm about to hang up, send the ride." Jessica told Amy to hurry up and there'd be so many cute guys here. Cute guys? Uh-oh. Do I smell some cheating going on here? The other night when I went through the receipts, there was an ATM withdrawal of $40 at 11:03 p.m. from an ATM that charged $8. I was a bit confused by it. We use a national bank and their ATMs are on every corner. I hadn't asked her about it yet, but it was in my plans. She had taken money out when she was with her friends. So, secret messages, hang out with friends that she assured you she's not going to talk to, taking money out that's out of the budget, spending $8 in ATM fees, which is highway robbery. So, but on the other hand, I have to applaud the bank that pulled that off. And, yeah, where could this lead? The conversation included pictures of them at a club. At a club, huh? I don't know if it was stupidity, arrogance, or both. Amy, Jessica, her friends are at a table with some guys. As I was studying the pictures, there was a light knock on the door. Amy asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine. She asked if I was sick, and I told her I would be fine. Truth be told, I kind of was now sick after finding out what I did. If I hadn't already decided the marriage was over, I would be likely very sick at what I was seeing. So even as this is all going on, behind your back, she's out with her friends. That's probably why she bought her big black hooker boots. With a bunch of guys, and you guys obviously can see where this is going. In the pictures, Amy was wearing a short, tight dress, which I had never seen before, cleavage on display. What wasn't on display was her wedding ring. It was clearly absent from her hand. I started taking snapshots and sending them to my phone. There was another knock at the door, and Amy asked if I knew where her phone was. I told her, yes, I do. I'm in here, and I'm going through it right now. Out the club, and she's archiving what's going on and no ring. Again, buddy, I told you in the last video, get rid of her. And I know you're in the process of doing that. She asked me why, and I ignored her. She banged on the door and demanded I open it and give her her phone. No response from me. I was busy. She's like, I'm taking a shit, honey. God damn it. She told me it's her phone and I shouldn't be looking at it without permission. I corrected her and said we were married and it's our phone. She told me I needed to give it to her. Again, no response from me. She was mad and frustrated and demanding I give her her phone. She had tried to open the door, but it was locked. Well, now she's going to get the screwdriver. Apparently, she learned from me the other day and got a small screwdriver from the tool drawer and unlocked it. Now, I'm not dumb. There's a reason I was in the bathroom. There's a drawer in the bathroom cabinet that, when it opens, blocks the door. When she tried to open the door, it would only open about 2 inches before hitting the drawer. Again, more demands from her. She was trying to peer through the crack to see what I was doing. I told her she could have it back when I'm done. She told me I was invading her privacy. I asked why she needed secrecy when she's married. She was getting louder and banging the door. I told her to knock it off or else she'd wake up the neighbors. I don't think she cares about that dude. She wanted her phone back badly. I continued to send myself screenshots and ignored Amy's crying and demanding of her phone. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Amy realized I wasn't giving her phone back and had left for somewhere else in the apartment. I got what I wanted from her phone and walked into the living room. She ran to me demanding her phone. I handed it to her and she retreated to the couch with it. She was oblivious to me, solely focused on the phone at this point. She's like fucking Gollum with a goddamn ring. I'm watching a Lord of the Rings marathon over the last week. I just finished 2 Towers. It's like a Gollum in the mine, and how Gollum's going after that goddamn ring any chance he can get. And we all know how that ends, but this is her chasing after her fucking phone. So I went into the kitchen, grabbed some trash bags, and went to the bedroom and shut the door and locked it. I also wedged it so it couldn't be open again. I got busy. A couple minutes later, Amy tried to come in. She knocked, and I told her I would be out shortly. She said something about letting her in because we needed to talk. I repeated I'd be out and told her to leave me alone for 15 minutes. Amy didn't push it, and I figured she went back to the sofa. 20 minutes later, I walked out carrying 7 giant trash bags. I set them near the front door. Amy was sitting on the couch, clutching her phone, but not looking at it. I sat down next to her, I held my hand out and asked for her phone. Amy just looked again at me. Her eyes were red. She obviously had been crying. What else is she going to fucking do? All this bitch does is cry. Again, I told her to give it to me. Without a word, she did. It was unlocked, so I went over to open WhatsApp, and it wasn't there. I guess she was thinking maybe I hadn't seen it, so she deleted it. What do you mean WhatsApp? I don't have WhatsApp. What are you talking about? I started to speak. I told Amy I didn't see anything in her emails or text messages. I told her she texts too much and should spend less time on her phone. Amy looked a little more relaxed. I said a couple of things about friendships and priorities. I then looked at her and said, so who is this Dylan guy? Amy went white and tensed up. Before she could answer, I said, I'll bet you wish you deleted WhatsApp before I took your phone in the bathroom, not afterwards. Amy started to tear up again. I asked again, you do really wish you would have deleted it sooner, don't you? She just sat there in tears, rolling down her cheeks. I said, well, don't you? She finally gave me a silent nod, and that told me everything. I don't regret what I did. I regret you found out. Of course. I asked her again about Dylan. I told her I wanted an answer right now. She finally talked in a quiet voice. He's nobody. He doesn't mean anything. More questions, more brief answers. It took a while to get what I could get out of her, probably 10% for all I know. Yeah, you probably got about 10% of the truth out of her. Jessica and their other friends wanted to go dancing one night and wanted Amy to come along. According to Amy, they hounded her until she agreed. Oh, so she can't stand up for herself? It was their fault that she went to the club. I know at this point you guys are just all laughing at the accountability jokes. Jessica paid for an Uber there and back for Amy, and Amy paid her with some cash she got out of the ATM. That way I wouldn't know she went anywhere. Duh. The ATM withdrawal. You gotta be a fucking forensic accountant, dude. They were dancing, having drinks, and then the guys came around, bought them drinks, and danced with them. Amy finally left at 2 o'clock in the morning so she could be all cleaned up and get some sleep before I came home Saturday morning. This is why you're on that business trip. While her fucking friend Susan's hitting on you and everything like that and trying to and testing you. Good Lord. This is not how married women are supposed to behave. If you're mature and old enough to get married, then you shouldn't be out at clubs and doing shit that single women do. Period. Same thing with guys. I questioned her about the text conversation on the ride home. Jessica and Amy were messaging back and forth, and Jessica asked Amy where her and Dylan disappeared to. You would not believe the sobbing and crying I got. I think you'd call it Tuscan Raider. Yep. She went from 0 to Tuscan Raider in 2.3 seconds. She admitted to Jessica they were back near the restrooms making out. You believe me now? You should have ditched the bitch earlier? Okay. So while I was dodging the Susan setup during my work trip, Amy was at home cheating on me. When I was in the bathroom reading the messages, I felt nothing. I was simply numb to all this. That happens to a lot of guys, man. It didn't matter. When Amy decided to converse with Susan and Jessica after I told her to cut them off, I decided we were done. This new revelation was just the icing on the cake sitting next to another icing-covered cake. Yep. She was now sobbing and trying to apologize. He meant nothing. I was drinking and didn't realize what I was doing. Lady, you know exactly what you were doing. I deleted his contact and blocked him. Yeah, after he cocked you. She told me she wouldn't do anything I wanted and she would do anything I wanted and kept reassuring me that Dylan is nobody. I held Amy and let her cry. I felt like crying, but I held it back. Let's keep in mind, guys, that he did marry this woman, loving her, and thought he had a good thing going up until all this shit started. So, let's remember now that this is his marriage, although their brief has failed. It's her fault, not his. And his heart's broken. So in the midst of all this craziness, yeah, the guy's obviously allowed to be a little upset here. But it's just so much has happened, he's been numb. I held Amy and let her cry. I felt like crying, but I held it back. Good, bro. A couple years back, someone had told me if you're in a situation where you cannot control the tears, you hold your tongue to the roof of your mouth. That feeling will subside. I can say it works, at least for me. After a few minutes, she calmed down and stopped the tears. I looked at her and told her, Amy, I forgive you for what you did. I forgive you for the setup with Susan, for spending the money you did, and for cheating on me with Dylan. When the word cheating came out, Amy stiffed up a bit. That struck a tender spot, and she clearly didn't like the sound of that. I stood up, and next I told her, it's now time for you to leave. While I forgive you, I cannot forget what you've done during this week while I was gone. I cannot and will not remain married to you. It's now time for you to leave. Very good, bro. You had every right to yell and carry on, but then again, she would use that against you. Mind you, this is probably the middle of the fucking night, and probably the neighbors can hear some of this shit. Tears, sobbing, and more I'm sorry's begging me. More promises to do anything. Too much nonsense to quote all. Because again, she's probably doing this in Tuscan Raider talk, and you can barely understand what the fuck she's saying. In the end, I told Amy I would drive her to her parents' house. All her clothes and belongings were crammed in the trash bags. Well, that's kind of appropriate. She said she wasn't going to leave and wanted to work to save our marriage. I told her I would drive her and her things to her parents, or I would just chuck all the bags off the balcony into the parking lot. Either way, she was leaving. There was nothing worth saving. On the drive to her parents' house, Amy tried to talk, and I told her please not talk. We rode in silence to her parents' place. The only sound coming from the road noise was, wait for it, Amy crying. I dropped her and her trash bags off at her parents' doorstep at 5:30 in the morning. You're a legend, man. Now go get some pancakes at IHOP or something, because you earned them. I had the landlord change the locks on our door. Well, more like your door. When Amy and I got married, she was living at her parents' place. All the furniture is mine. I bought a second vehicle for Amy to drive, but it's in my name. Amy's parents had a car she would use whenever she needed. The lease is in my name. All of Amy's things were in the trash bags. I decided I will box up all the wedding gifts and give them to her. I don't want any of them. My mom told me that I need to work past Amy's indiscretion and not divorce her. Mom, none of your fucking business, and you're not exactly one to talk. Miss Emotional Affair with Mike, whatever the hell his name was. It was only a kiss. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a single kiss. I don't know if it was 30 minutes of tongue wrestling or if it involved kissing or other things. Please, she's probably sucking as you know what in the bathroom. My dad told me my mom had the emotional affair. I put money down that it was more than that, based on her reaction to what Amy did. I think it's time to distance yourself from your mom. Her parents told me we need to go to marriage counseling. I told them a person shouldn't need counseling to know you don't kiss another man when you're married. What was there to counsel? I was told I need to fight for her. They told you need to fight for her? Shouldn't she be fighting for you? She's the one that fucked this whole thing up. Fight for her, my ass. Fight for a cheater, fight for a liar, fight for a fucking ridiculous child. Why would I fight to keep someone who's unfaithful and deceitful in my life? I told them both we were done. I also explained that Amy never apologized for the setup that she did on me, nor did she apologize for spending the money. I gotta wonder what this guy's more pissed about, spending the fucking emergency money or the whole setup, or the steak. I explained how she told me she wished she had deleted WhatsApp before I found it. She never once lamented over making out with Dylan. There is no accountability in her life. She blamed Jessica for the setup, spending the money, and for making her go to the club. Amy is a child, and if I had my eyes open while we were dating, I probably wouldn't have seen it. If only, if only, if only. The ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. First time I heard that line was out of Sheldon Cooper in The Big Bang Theory. I told them that I was done and Amy will be served divorce papers in the coming week or two. Amy's mom told me that her daughter kissing another man was just a mistake and didn't mean anything, it was just kissing. Oh, okay. So if I went out and made out with some other chick, Amy'd have no problem with that? Really? I asked if I made out with Susan on my trip, would she say the same thing? I told them both of them that only someone who was a cheater would condone and make excuses for another cheater. I then hung up on them and blocked their number. I've learned some things from your videos, this being one of them. Cheaters will defend someone else is cheating. Exactly, dude. That's exactly what you just got. On Tuesday the 17th, I met with a second attorney. It was confirmed that the annulment isn't applicable in my situation. The cheating isn't either. This is a no-fault state. Amy was served on the 20th. She phoned me sobbing, begging, and pleading. You told her what you're going to do. I told her from now on she needed to contact me through my lawyer, and I hung up on her. She phones, but I let her messages go to voicemail, and I'm saving any text messages she sent. She still asks what she can do to fix this. Because in her mind, eventually you'll cave. I'm looking forward to this coming Tuesday. We will be in October, and hopefully I can put this shitty month behind me. I've got a friend who wants to move out of his current living situation, so I will acquire a roommate in the next month or so. He's a clueless guy like me. I'll introduce him to your channel, and we can learn together. You may be saving this guy's life, dude. The money Amy spent is gone, and I will restore it myself. I don't want anything from Amy or her parents. I will take the next few months to regroup and circle the wagons. Too bad I only have one wagon. It'll be a small circle. I wouldn't take a dime from them. I would rather be out panhandling in the pouring rain than take one penny from those people. SSM, thank you again for reading my email. Your insight was valuable, and I will keep watching your videos. Like I said, I try to listen to 2 to 3 a day. Basically, I'm hooked. I'm still clueless and will likely be for a while. I have a long journey ahead of me. One last thought, though. When you read my email, you told me I need to figure out why I felt needed to get married so young and so soon. Reflecting on a few short years of this planet, I think it was probably had to do with my family breaking up when I was a kid. Deep down, I really miss what my family used to be, and I was probably trying to recreate it, which I did. I recreated a marriage with cheating that ended in divorce. I'll do better. Thanks again. And he says, P.S. When I bagged the baby's things, her wedding ring was on her nightstand, so it is still in my possession. The end, or at least the end for now, because I think we're going to hear from our guy. There'll probably be a last minute. So he said the 1st of October, something's happening. It would seem hard to believe that things would move so quickly with the divorce, but nevertheless, the 1st is next week, and we'll be thinking about him. And bro, I asked you to write in one more update. Regardless of what happens, just letting us know how things went with her and any last-ditch efforts she did to get you back. I'm sure there's going to be one. Her mom and dad showing up at your house or something like that. And let us know how it went. Probably she got the car that you had, that even though it's in your name. I want to know what happened, the details here. Let us know. But I'm sorry you had to go through all this shit, dude. No one should go through it. But you know what? And I'm not surprised I don't want to say I told you so, but there was no way this was going to work out. And to make it worse, he was cheating on you, and Lord knows how long she's been cheating on you. And so this story just really covers just so many lessons that after doing thousands of stories, you start to see patterns here. I'd recommend you definitely continue watching my channel. This guy that might become your roommate, you should probably definitely recommend my channel. He watches it too. And even if you listen to one video a day or averaging one video a day, every video will help you get better. And right now, I would focus on your grind, which you obviously love doing, rebuilding up that emergency fund. That's paramount. First, get through the fucking divorce. Do what you got to do, get through the divorce. It's going to cost you some money. Then recoup the emergency fund, and then bust your tail in your grind. Hit the gym, hang out with your bros. You said you're a boring guy. Well, I'm a fucking boring guy. I'm a happy boring guy. Do what makes you happy, and move up in your career because you're a hardworking, ambitious guy. Start living. I know you know how to budget. I know you know how to live cheap. You can start investing, and you're going to be in a place you want to be. But you're also a relationship guy, and that's why I thought you rushed to get married so young, to recreate your bad childhood, to make up for the bad child you had because of the divorce and all that. I'm not all surprised. Now you know. And one day, you're obviously going to want to have at least a relationship again, probably get married again. And I hope you now know to take your time and really screen everything. And for God's sakes, you got to make sure you see eye to eye with this girl. And guess what? There are women out there that are actually good with money. I know 2 of them. I had a personal training client. She worked for a big bank in the investment, wealth management side. She was very good with it. She and her husband were my clients. She was awesome. She's probably about 40 years old now. And another gal I'm friends with, she's a banker. She's actually fucking cheap. I'm always giving her shit about it. Like for God's sakes, you're worse than, you take it to a whole new level of being cheap. And she makes tons of money. So there are women out there that actually can not be stupid with money. And you do your homework, do your searching and all that, and just make sure your goals are aligned and take a long time to screen her. But for now, get through this divorce, be single for a while, be a bachelor for a while, focus on your grind, you're going to be okay. But I appreciate you writing your story in. This is a long one, but we got a lot out of it, both learning things as well as quality entertainment. So I wish you the best, but definitely keep me posted. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Give this guy a shout out. Let him know he's done well. Give him some advice to get through the remaining part of this divorce. And wish him luck on his journey in life. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.